Okay, so this is just going to take me a little second here. So just wanted to jump in really quickly. We're going to do kind of a speed run through of our focusing this course on these 4 objectives. So how are we centering our values? What does it look like to lead from a position of caring? What ways do we understand power dynamics impact this process? And how might onboarding inform how we're building that inclusive culture?
Then we spent our first session together talking about KSAs and really the overall arc. We probably mentioned KSAs more times than we probably should. But KSAs, last week, we started to look at scoping and like pivoting from the KSAs in the job posting into mapping our networks and trying to align with the candidates that would be attracted and fit the KSAs of the role. And so this week we're pivoting into the interviews. Katrina always calls this all about the interviews. So while all of the stages of the process are fun, I think we particularly like this stage because there's a lot of creativity that comes into how we can reimagine it. So we'll spend today on interview design, question scenario creation, and this piece around a candidate rating rubric. And then next week, we land the plane together with reference checks, offer stage, and onboarding. And so our quick roll down other memory lane here. Last week, we spent some time talking about anchors and those sort of 2 to 4 things that after you boil it down, everything from the job description and whatnot, these are your anchors that sort of ground every part of the process that you keep coming back to. And we mentioned the ones that we used for the Opera Philadelphia search as just an example of how you can boil down sort of really lengthy job posting or job description. So speaking of which, we sort of introduce these 3 different buckets: the job description, that's often sort of an exhaustive internal document; the job posting that we posit sort of a marketing or an ad that then sort of attracts the candidates and gets them into the process. And then we learn more about, both they and us learn more about the role in the organization and each other. And then this other bucket of sort of position discovery: what other things might people be interested in learning that we can put either on a web page or an application package that's not embedded in, that doesn't make the job posting 18 pages long.
Skim through. So we just talked about laying out that idea of 3 cubes. So from the perspective of the candidates, who might be interested, what they might need to be attracted to learning more about the opportunity or to apply, where they might be, what we might need to provide for them. We talked about that idea of the network and who can help spread the word. So do we need media kits? Do we need any of those things for people to help them make it really easy for them to support this work? And who is in that network? And so we worked on some network mapping and had a little weekly challenge around that as well. And then finally around like that idea of the resource requirements to do this work. So who is actually going to do the labor of creating all of those different pieces and of posting and of reaching out to the networks and so on. So that idea of the network mapping, we had to do a little exercise and just characterize some of those relationships based on trust, reciprocity, energy, the frequency or closeness of interaction, and really talked about that idea that it was that second circle out from that kind of first grouping that usually we see a lot of really interesting candidates that we might not have seen before had we just kind of gone with a really basic understanding of who's in the network and who can help source. So media kits, really quick, just that idea of putting all that sort of discovery pieces into spaces where candidates would be able to easily access if they were interested in learning more, or if they were in their preparation for interviews. This would be a great place for them to continue to go back to. So everything in one place, make it really easy. Maybe it's all linked on one website. That would be really ideal, because then it just makes it so that people can know where to access, and they can access as frequently as they need. We talked about videos, podcasts, images, maybe quotes, anything that can facilitate, quick sharing, frequent sharing throughout the network, and just really using that to complement sort of the marketing approach that Tim talked about.
So the funnel again is there are 7 billion people in the world, and oftentimes we're trying to find the one person or one person that has the knowledge, skills, and abilities that aligns with the role. And part of this is calibrating how big our funnel is based off the resources of our team. Can we review 3,000 applications? Cool. Can we only review 30? Calibrating how we approach the posting phase, and so that vetting process is important to know, and oftentimes a trial and error, I guess, if you wish, if you will. And that led us to sharing this schematic. And when we shared this is sort of, Katrina and I, this was diving deeper into sourcing, and we sort of jokingly said, yeah, we probably could talk for like 7 hours about everything on that. And so we said, I don't know, let's see how long this takes us. And so good news is it was only an hour. We dropped a bonus video where we go through the entire schematic and really spend some more time around how we think about each one of these different things. So if you're interested in that, is a separate module 2 menu. So, and this is Katrina and I recording that video. So pretty straightforward, I think. And then last week we left with the weekly challenge, where we invited you to think about that job posting or another one. And with that in mind, really start to think about mapping the network. So how you can think about that, your current and previous jobs and friends and family and community and professional networks, to start to strategize where the posting might resonate best and most.